Hello, how are you doing, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Doreen Moracha, the founder of I Am a Beautiful Story, which is a digital initiative aimed at normalizing the HIV conversation. And here I give you information, education, and just trying to teach you a thing or two about HIV. And today I want us to talk about a topic that gives every person living with HIV the chills. It basically scares everybody living with HIV. And this is the topic about HIV disclosure. So I've done a video about disclosure before, but today I wanted us to feature both aspects of disclosure, that is disclosure of parents and guardians to their children, as well as disclosure to people in your social circle. So before I go further, I want to tell you that this conversation is powered to you, or rather brought to you by the Kigali Hope Organization, the 1x1 2030, as well as the Access Challenge. So I would like you to follow us on our socials, and please like, share, subscribe, and leave a lovely comment in the comment section. So today, as I said, I am talking about HIV disclosure. Disclosure in English terms means opening up about your HIV status to somebody who is in your life. That means a friend, a lover, a relative, a close one, like whoever you may want to disclose to. But the thing about HIV disclosure is it gives a lot of people the chills. So I am a child born with HIV, and being born with HIV, my parents told me about my HIV status way later in my life. I was 13 years old. So I'm going to start with the disclosure of parents and guardians to their children. When is the right age to disclose the status of the child to them? A lot of parents struggle with this. They say they're too young, they can't know. And also, to ask you a question, if you're a parent living with HIV and the children do not have HIV, do you think that they have a right to know that you are living with HIV? And because a lot of parents seem to have an issue with disclosing their HIV status to their children. So coming back to the children living with HIV, so your child has been born, your child was found HIV positive. At what age do you tell them about HIV? So the thing about HIV is it is taught in schools. And being taught in schools means that the children are given the wrong information. They're told AIDS skills, and we know that HIV and AIDS are not the same thing. They're told things such as, you are now going to die tomorrow. People with HIV are promiscuous, because those are the things that I personally was taught in school before I now came to learn that I am actually living with the virus itself. So how do you bring this topic up? First of all, what age? I prefer, or rather I always advise, from age 9, because at age 9 this child understands a lot of things about HIV. So it is you to find out how much information do you have and what information do you debunk, right? If they start asking questions about the treatment that they're taking, that is the right time to sit them down. And there is something called assisted disclosure, where you go to a hospital and you, with the help of a healthcare worker, you tell the child that they are living with HIV. So that is the second perspective of disclosing to a child. The third perspective is basically don't let them find out. Don't let them find out on their own, because that is exactly how stigma kicks in. But I also would not advise for you to wait for so long. There are people who wait for their kids to turn 18, 21, and they keep lying to them about, you have this condition, you have that condition, you are, and all of those things. But the whole time, this child kind of finds out that they're HIV positive, and that is when they go into denial and they stop taking their ARVs. So I always say, start early. Tell them early. Tell them as early as they start asking the questions. Tell them as early as the age of 9. Introduce the topic. Talk about it. Normalize the conversation. I know it is so hard to be talking about HIV left, right, and center, but sometimes when the topic comes up, please just open up and tell them, by the way, you can even say it's a friend. You can even give a story. The thing about children is they're smart. So you cannot lie to a child that they do not have HIV. At some point they will find out. At some point their curiosity will kick in, and there is nothing as bad as a child finding out that they are living with HIV. That is how they stigmatize themselves, they stop taking treatment, and then it becomes a whole problem. I have a 20-year-old who died in 2020. Reason being, she was disclosed to at the age of 18. And when she was disclosed to, she did not find it nice. She did not like that information. She was in college. She had just joined college. She stopped taking her treatment, and sadly, she got meningitis and passed on. So we can stop this kind of scenarios if we disclose early. So the thing about disclosing from a pediatric position is to ensure that you do it early. Talk to the doctor, tell them the child has started asking about the treatment they're taking. Is this the right time? Can I bring them in at this particular point? And also don't go just about and telling them, hey, you're living with HIV. No, they're not going to take it very well. Start from an information point of view and now move on to ensuring that they are actually understanding, grasping the concept that this is a health condition they're living with for the rest of their life. Okay, don't give them promises that in 5 years time you won't be taking treatment. In 5 years time you do not know what is going to happen. So for now they're taking treatment for the now. Okay, so now when it comes to disclosing to your social circle, that means your family, your friends, your relatives. The other day I was in hospital. I had gone to for my clinic visits, my monthly clinic visits. I go after every 3 months. The reason somebody asked me why I'm not going for the 6 months checkup, and I was like, it's because I am a new client now. I transferred clinics, and so now I have to start from the bottom up like everybody else. So this lady had just walked in. She was right before me. And then the counselor was asking her how many people she has told that she has HIV, what, like that conversation. And she said, I don't want anybody to know that I'm living with HIV. I don't want my brothers or my sisters or my parents to know about HIV. If they ever find out on their own, that is them. She has lived with HIV for 7 years so far. I just eavesdropped this conversation. So I kind of agreed from a point where she's coming from. Reason being, I have been stigmatized by my own family members. I have been treated differently by my own family members because they think living with HIV is a death sentence. So I understand where she's coming from because she does not want to disclose. The thing about disclosure is it has the element of surprise. You do not know what the other person is thinking. You don't know what the other person knows. You know nothing about the other person. Reason being, it's HIV. It comes with its own secrecy. However, as much as it does, HIV also comes with the loneliness of living with it. But sometimes the solace we need, the company we need, is not with the people we share with. It's maybe us. Maybe we are our own best company. So that is why a lot of people prefer not to disclose. I see people in my DMs and they're like, Doreen, why can't so-and-so just disclose to me? Why can't my mom tell me she's living with HIV? A lot of you send me photos of ARVs where your parents are taking ARVs. Some of you send me photos of the ARV bottle and they're telling me, is this an ARV? Do you take the same kind of medication? I have seen my sister with this, and probably that is why they don't want to disclose to you. Some people are just not comfortable, and all you need to do is be there for them. Just be there. And for the people who ask, some people even ask me, do I now tell my parents, do I tell my siblings? I always say you can only do that when you're comfortable, when you have already accepted yourself. Because one thing about disclosure is you don't know what the other person is thinking. You cannot tell. In your head, it might make a lot of perfect sense and they're saying, they will definitely accept me. But the moment you say I am HIV positive, those words change people. That is one thing I need you to know. Those words change people, and it can be a change for the better or for the worse. And I know a friend of mine who disclosed to her family members. They never showed up to her graduation. They called her later to go to her rural home and give her a piece of land and told her, this is where we want you to be buried when you die. And then your son will live here. And she cut off her whole family. She has never talked to them ever since. So just because they're your family, just because they're your blood, does not mean that they will not disclose. And I'm not saying that they will not discriminate you. And I'm not saying that do not disclose to them. But I'm saying find yourself a family member who you're so comfortable with, you're so close with, one who, when you tell them, you know this one has sense. Though my mom found her sister, who was a medical practitioner, and thought, this one is not going to disclose to other people, but that is the one who made it BBC News. Tangazo, everybody knew about it. So I really prefer, and sometimes it can even be a stranger on the internet. Sometimes it can just be a friend you met. Sometimes you find support in the least expected places. So don't, there is a loneliness that comes with living with HIV, and that is why I advise you to tell somebody who you know this one cannot tell anyone. Don't be that the only people who know that you're HIV positive is me, Doreen, because you guys always tell me, your doctor and you. Don't let it be, and God, so these are four. Don't let it be only the four of us. You need a support system that is going to stand by you each and every step of the way when you're feeling down and you're not feeling like taking a treatment, because it's a difficult journey. I'm not even going to lie to you. It is a hard, tough journey, but it's you to actually know that I'm comfortable at this point. At this point I can do this. At this point I can go here. At this point I can go there. At this point I can open up. At this point I can speak even to 5 people and tell them, hey, I'm HIV positive. So the thing is, are you in that position? And for you to reach the position where you can comfortably disclose your HIV status to people, you need to have accepted yourself fully. So that is like for the social circle, the friends, the relatives. Tell the ones who you feel need to know. Do not tell the other ones who you don't. Because some people even tell me, do I tell my parents? Sometimes you tell parents and then they go all bananas and think you're going to die next week. So it depends with the people, it depends with the information they have. And also, with your social circles, as you are having conversation around everything else, also have conversations around health, have conversation around sexual reproductive health, have conversations about HIV, so that you know, if I disclose to this person, I'm good. If I keep quiet with this one, you know where you stand with these particular people. So the other part, people, now the disclosure that you all dread, that you all hate so much, the one that involves disclosing to somebody, your sexual partner, your one-night stand, your friend with benefit, whatever you want to call them, whatever name or tag you've given each other. So that one is usually the hardest, because a lot of people know that sometimes human beings catch feelings. It is a fact. But the thing is, sometimes you get somebody and then you decide, this is my person for life. But you have not told them that you're HIV positive. So you keep quiet, and then one day they find out, and then they leave you or they treat you badly. And now when they treat you badly, what do? Now you are, Doreen, they left me. Why are people like this? Humanity is dead, and among other things. But the thing today, recently I asked a question and I said, when do you disclose it? Is it before or after sex? And I do not prefer, I don't even advocate for disclosure after sex. Reason being, after sex there is a lot of things that can happen. A lot of things can go wrong. That is how GBV happens. That is how you find yourself, somebody will throw you off the building. I am the one telling you, bad things happen after. So do not disclose after. Even if it is an emergency, don't. If it has happened, if you feel like this person might not be able to handle the information, let them go. A lot of us are afraid to let people go because they're like, but then there is nobody. My mother says even blind people, and I am very sorry, but even blind people have somebody who loves them. So please don't be that person who thinks that this is your number one, your one and only, you are A to Z and there is nothing that can go wrong. A lot of things can go wrong, and the more you keep holding on to this person who does not want you because you're living with HIV, the more you keep causing yourself more harm. So for a sexual partner, first of all, establish the kind of relationship you have with them. Talk about HIV. Ask them, do you know your HIV status? Have you ever tested? When was the last time you tested? Can we test together? Tell them, if somebody close to you, use somebody. People have their mothers, so you can always use their mother. This is bad advice, but you can always use their mother and tell them, hey, if your mom was found out to be HIV positive today, what would you do? How would you react? How they would react can actually give you a glimpse of how they will react to you. Also, remember, you are not born with this person, so yeah, you can't really tell very well on how they're going to react. But I am just saying that it is what it is. So ask them that question. If somebody close to you, your sister, your brother, your father, your mother, if they tested positive and they told you, how would you react? Then, because I once asked somebody, would you date a person living with HIV? And they asked me, why would I leave all those negative girls out there and come and date a positive person? So I had my answer. So the thing is, the answers are always there. It's you who does not want to hear the answer that you're going to be given. And you don't want to believe that that is actually how that person speaks. Please believe them. Believe them the first time they say something. Otherwise, they will stigmatize you, they will reject you, and you will end up hating them and hating yourself for what you let them do. So, to me, disclosure is very important, but do it before sex. Disclosure is very important, but do it in a wise way. Don't do disclosure in somebody's house. Please do not do disclosure in somebody's house. Do not do disclosure on a first date. That is a bad idea, a very bad idea. Don't do disclosure there. Actually, even on the second date, probably do disclosure on that date, because by now you have established some rapport. What else was I going to say? Do not, and I repeat, do not tell them in a pity way. Oh, so I don't know whether you're going to like me, but I am living with HIV. Don't do that. Don't even on text. Don't start with, there is something I need to tell you. Oh, you see, I have been living with HIV, and people, when I tell them, they run up. Don't do that. When you're going to disclose to a person who you are having sexual relations with, or you're anticipating to, say it as it is. Hey, I'm HIV positive. I just wanted to let you know about that, and that is it. Don't go about beating around the bush, because the moment you do that, you trigger them. And when you trigger them, now they start saying, this girl is positive. And they can come back. Actually, sometimes you can do that, and then they'll give you the pity response, or the pity party. Not pity party really, but rather they will like you in a pity way. They're just putting you close so that you don't go ahead thinking people are rejecting you. So I am just trying to tell you, and tell you right now, don't disclose from a pity point of view. Just say, hi, I'm living with HIV. And I wanted to let you know that I am okay with my status. I am taking my drugs. I am undetectable, and I cannot transmit HIV to you. But if they don't want, and remember, not everybody is supposed to accept you. You are not avocado. You're not ice cream. Those are the only things that people love universally all together. So if they don't like you, let them go. Okay? Up until this moment, I have told you how to disclose, what to disclose, what to watch, who to disclose to, and what to watch out when you're doing disclosure. Please, I want us all to accept our status before we go any further with the disclosure, before we even have the thought of disclosure. Because some people say, I can't live with HIV publicly like you, but you don't have to live with HIV publicly. You just have to accept your status. So accept your status, whether you decide to tell everybody in the whole world, or you decide to live a private, nice life with your HIV status. It doesn't matter, but you need to accept your HIV status. And that is one thing I want to tell you. Once you accept, you have power, and nobody can take your power away from you. So up until this particular point, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would encourage you to like it, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Remember, this video has been brought to you by the 1x1 2030, the Access Challenge, and Kigali Hope organization. Up until this point, I just want to say bye-bye and see you next week.